Decisions made here, in this room, are private, personal, and should be made by you and your doctor, not politicians. Joe Biden knows that. He'll fight for your right to make your own healthcare decisions. He knows these guys shouldn't be in this room.
It's a taste of fall, the day not.
This room are private, personal, and should be made by you and your doctor, not politicians. Joe Biden knows that. He'll fight for your right to make your own healthcare decisions. He knows these guys shouldn't be in this room.
It's a taste of fall, the day not.
This room are private, personal, and should be made by you and your doctor, not politicians. Joe Biden knows that. He'll fight for your right to make your own healthcare decisions. He knows.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Let me know, please. All right. Have you got me now? You can let me know. Sound good? Anything? Anything? Okay. There we go. I don't know why, but the streaming software that I'm using. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate that. The streaming software that I'm using is now forcing me to go through Google Chrome. And that's 2 weeks in a row now that Google Chrome has just crashed. So I'll have to figure out some way to work around that. So I apologize. I had everything up and running. Everything tested fine 10 minutes before I went live. And then just like last week, just nothing. So thanks, Google Chrome. Good job. You billionaires. You're doing a wonderful job. Cool. I'm glad everybody's here, though. Glad you can hear me now. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Happy Sunday, September the 10th to you. Let's see who we got here. I saw a lot of Tangle Tackle Army members on here. Pat Enos, Craig Rao, Jason C., U. Merrill, Patrick Forster, COW Outdoors, Chad Douglas, Slicky Mo, Ryan Purchase from Texas, or in Texas, rather. Jay Brunsting, a lot of people on here. Good to see everybody. If you want to be a Tangle Tackle Army member, the link is right down below. Not only do you get access to our private Discord page, which is a really cool place to hang out, you also get your name into the hat for the free salmon charter giveaway that we draw every December 31st, New Year's Eve. We draw that out. So somebody's going to win. Or you can support us on Patreon, and you can get your name in the hat that way. Both those links are down below. If you want to do that, it definitely helps the channel. It keeps all the gears lubricated and up and running, and everything running smoothly. So thanks everybody for being. If you're here as a Tangle Tackle Army member, I do appreciate it. Patreon supporters, you guys make this whole thing possible. So thank you very much. The cool thing about the Tangle Tackle Army membership is I can actually see. I'm looking at my screen right here. I can actually see the people. If your name is in green, I know you're an Army member, but I can see your rank too. So as you, the longer you stay active in the Tangle Tackle Army thing, your rank actually goes up, and I can see that increase. So I'm seeing a whole bunch of people here who are getting up in the Master Sergeant realm. I see a few privates here. Fred Bailey, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Dan Canham. Dan Canham has been on the Tangle Tackle Army for a long time now, and he also helps me run the Discord page. If you got any questions about the Discord, Dan, he just put a poster, just commented down there. The guy knows a lot about it, and he helps me really keep that thing up and running smoothly. We got threads or topics on there about everything. You can come on there. You can find a ride, offer a ride, hunting, fishing, all the different ports up and down Lake Michigan. People finding ways to communicate with one another, to start networks, things like that. It's been a really cool place. So appreciate Dan, you being there and helping me out, and I appreciate everybody for being there and being part of it. So let's get this right out of the way. Detroit Lions, man. I didn't make it through the whole game. I'll be honest. I had a charter the next morning, so I didn't make it through the whole game. I crashed, and when I woke up the next morning, you know that, man, I love the Lions. I've been a Lions fan forever, but you still get that little somewhat sick feeling in the back of your mind. You know, do I want to check the scores? But I woke up the next morning at 3:45 or so, and I looked at my cell phone and kind of opened one eye to see what the score was. I asked Siri what the score was, and I looked, and 21-20, Lions over the Chiefs. I got nothing against the Chiefs. World champions, home field, banner night. The Chiefs dropped the Super Bowl banner that night, and the Lions come in and beat you up. And I don't know about beat them up. It was a good game. It was a really good game. And just really proud of the Lions. So if you've been a Lions fan for a long time like me, or if you're just jumping on the bandwagon, happy to have you on board. We are we are very, very Lions faithful here. A lot of people, but a lot of people here are not Lions fans. So I don't want to bore everybody too long on that. But anyway, congratulations, Detroit. And wherever you are and whoever you root for, I hope your team does well also. Okay, second thing to get out of the way. Dreamweaver limited edition sweatshirts are back up and running. There should be a link either in the description or maybe somewhere on your screen. Something should pop up if you want to get your hands on that Dreamweaver limited edition sweatshirt. Go ahead and do so. That'll be available for a little while longer. But I also have a brand new Dreamweaver limited edition sweatshirt up there. So you get the old one with the These Colors Run Deep logo on the front, Team Dreamweaver on the sleeve, Team Dreamweaver on the back. But there's another one also available if you are a 30-pound club member, where if you've caught a 30-pound salmon, or if you really just want to. It's up to you. Now you can get a limited edition Team Dreamweaver sweatshirt, 30-pound club on the front, Team Dreamweaver on the back. It is a cool sweatshirt. Just got that design worked out. If you want to show off your 30-pound pride, hey, go for it. They are a nice looking sweatshirt. So check them out. Like I said, that link is down below, or it should be somewhere on your screen. So check that out, and I hope you like them. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you like your sweatshirts, or if you got any other ideas. I'm always looking for new ideas for design. So anyway, where are we here? Fred Wynn, how you doing? Call the Wild says this week the Lions won, MSU won, U of M won. U of M should win against that opponent. Alabama lost. Not a Roll Tide guy, huh? No problem. All right, so this week's topic is we're going to talk about the fishing report, and we're going to talk about the big kings. I'm talking about the 4-year-old adult kings. Where are they? Are they still around? Where do we find them? How do we go look for them? What are we doing? What are they biting on? So we're going to roll all that really into like the fishing report. But first off, I always have to remind everybody, please, that all of these Sunday night live streams are proudly brought to you by Dreamweaver Lures. Check them out at dreamweaverlures.com at your leisure. All right, dreamweaverlures.com. Some of the best people, definitely some of the best gear on the Great Lakes. If you're not running Dreamweaver gear, you should be. A lot of other really good stuff out there, but you cannot go wrong running Dreamweaver gear all the time. Stuff is always out of my boat. In some way, shape, or form, the stuff is always out there. So, Dreamweaver, love you guys. All right, so we'll do the fishing report and the top of the week. We'll roll that all up into one, but I just wanted to give a little precursor on some things. We got some really cool things coming down the pipe here in the next month or two, or maybe a little longer. Can't give away anything on it just yet, but we've got some really cool gear coming out, some other information on some other great stuff that's coming out soon. You guys are going to love this, so make sure to stick around on the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. If there's anything if you want to help the channel in the slightest possible way, if this channel helps you at all in any slight way and you want to help back, just hit the like button. That's the easiest thing to do. And if you want to subscribe, that really does help out. It brings this channel out to a lot more viewers and just helps this thing grow. So anyway, I wanted to say hi to Gabe and Courtney also. It was great having lunch with you guys today. I enjoyed our conversation, but a lot of things coming up and around the corner that I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy. So anyway, little teaser on that. That's all I can say. But let's get into the fishing report and the topic of the week. All right, so like I said, this week's topic is big kings, 4-year-olds, the adults. Where are they? Where do we find them? Late season really, I mean, it could be anything from end of August middle of September, end of September. It's a little different every year when the Kings want to show up and when they don't want to show up. They do their own thing. There's nothing we can do about it. But late season, really, it's a little different every year. But I guess for this sense, we'll call it after Labor Day. I think that's what everybody pretty much in their mind thinks what the late season is, after Labor Day. So we'll concentrate on that. First off, let me talk about the fishing report, let you guys know what's going on around here in Manistee. And really this, like I said, this will bleed into that topic as well. But still adult kings being caught. I'll talk a little more in depth on that here in a moment. But still seeing charter boats, myself included, coming in with anywhere from 5 to 10, even 15 fish. And it's been a real good mixture of adults, juvenile kings like 2 and 3 year olds, coho, not many steelhead showing up, but it's been a real nice mixture still of some real nice adult kings being caught. Now, I got to be honest with you. I toyed with this for, not toyed, but I thought about this for a little while. I had something happen to me last week on a charter that's never happened to me before. And I want everybody, actually, it took me like a second to decide I wanted to talk about this because it happens to all of us. Had a charter last week with some really nice people on board. We took off, of course, before dark, set up an area where I'd had luck in recent past and also in recent years, an area that I knew to produce. We marked a ton of fish right there, got nothing going. I think he might have had one. No, we didn't even have a bite there. Talked to a buddy on the phone. He said he was getting a few in a different area. We grabbed all the lines up out of the water, took off like a bat out of you know what, ran to that next spot, had all lines back in like that. Had 3 bites for the next, 3 hours. We hooked up on one, came loose. The other 2 were hit and misses and drive-bys on the divers, and that was it. I had a skunk. I truly did. And I'm not saying that in a sense of like, hey, feel sorry for me or some way. I just want you to know it happens. It happens to everyone. That's the first skunk I've ever had on a charter. That's the truth. Never had a skunk in the past. I've had 1 fish days in the past or 2 fish days in the past, but I've never had a skunk. But I just want you to know I'm no different than the rest of you all out there that's doing this thing. We have really, really good days. There's no doubt about it. But I did have a skunk, and I never want to come on here and just seem like I don't want anybody to put me on some pedestal because I got a YouTube channel and I run a salmon charter. That's not what I'm here for. I want you guys to know that I have days just like all of you out there. I feel the same frustration, the same anxiety, the same pain, if you want to call it that. And it happens. And I would have been wrong to sit here and never tell you guys about it because that's just not the truth and the reality of what charter fishing is. You're going to have bad days just like all of you out there. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to talk about that for a second and then move on from it. But I'm sorry. I missed a super chat on here. I am so sorry. Looks like Ryan Purchase sent me a super chat. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. Let me hit you up on the thanks, the super chat. Thanks here for a second. Then we'll come right back here. Here we go. Thanks, Ryan. Very nice of you to do that. But anyway, I'd be wrong to just come on here and say, hey, I catch fish every time. I slay 10, 15 fish every time. It's not the case. We have struggle days too. We do. We have one or two a year. Well, we have 1 fish or maybe 2 fish or maybe 3 days a year. It just happens. So anyway, I'd have been wrong to come out here and not talk about that in the same way. Okay. Somebody saying probably a banana on board. Maybe. That might have happened. Anyway. So here I am. Yeah, come take a charter with me, and then I talk about having a skunk on board. But hey, like I said, I got to be transparent. But anyway, so Manistee right now, like I said, we're still getting a real nice mix of adult kings, coho, juvenile kings. The occasional lake trout even showing up in the water is really cold. And the water right now is super, super cold. So that's really, really heartening to me to know that there's still a lot of good kings out there. And I talked to a couple boats this morning, still had really nice kings. And by nice kings, I mean not too dark yet, still pretty silver. Meat still looked pretty fresh. The eggs weren't, overly ripe in some ways. So really nice to hear that that's still coming about. So where are the big kings right now? Where are we going to be finding these things? So first and foremost, you got to be thinking pier heads. These adult kings right now, they're focused in really, if they're not completely focused in already. They're starting to focus in on the pier heads, getting into the river systems and spawning, completing their life cycle, and moving on to the great salmon outdoors. So pier heads have to be a thought in the back of your mind right now until really the end of the season for big kings. What really drives the pier head fishing is the water temperature. Now, don't get me wrong, we had really warm water here just last week around the pier heads, and I'm talking like mid 60-degree water top to bottom in the pier heads. You know, that top of the water down to the 30-35 feet down below, mid 60s water, and we were still catching adult kings in there. So temperature doesn't always mean that you're not going to get them in there. So if you go in there and look in the pier heads and you put a fish hawk probe down there at 20-30 feet down near the bottom, and it's saying 62 degrees, don't think that there's no kings in there. There's still a lot of times those big fish are going to be roaming into those pier heads because their biological clock is just going like that. And they know they got to get up into those pier heads. They got to get into the rivers and they got to spawn. So don't overlook those even on warm water days. Now, cold water days, like right now, when we had the big north blow over the last couple of days and that water flipped over and we got that icy cold water up in the pier heads, yeah, there's going to almost certainly going to be kings up in that cold water because they get triggered by that cold water or that cold rain or that combination of both. They get triggered by that to shoot up those rivers. So you definitely want to be keying in on those river mouse, stream mouse, anywhere where you're having that warm water outflow into that colder water. Gabriel, yeah, you're welcome, man. Happy to give you the shout out. So pier heads. When you're looking late season and you're looking for adult kings, big kings, pier heads should be somewhere in your thought process. Now, if you go out there and you hit the pier heads and you're just not getting the bites you want to get, the next place I'm probably going to go is right to where I normally go throughout the rest of the season. That's right out on the bank, on the shelf, and those areas in your area that typically hold kings. Because somewhere between the pier heads and that holding or that normal area where you fish, those fish are a lot of times going to be right in there. They're going to be holding out in those little deeper waters, like I said, on the shelf or the bank, or they're starting moving into that transition room, that transition area between that area, I'm saying the word area a lot, between like the bank and the shelf and into the pier head. So, you know, don't just run past that 40 foot of water. Don't run past that 50 foot of water right out to 150 or 130. Probe around in there. Take a look around. See what the water temps are. See what you're seeing on the graph. Get some baits down in there. Don't be afraid if you can, and I stress the word can, but don't be afraid to run east-west from like that skinny water out to 100 foot or 80 foot and then back in. Search those transition areas from that deeper water into the pier heads. A lot of times you're going to find a lot of kings right in that area. Now, if you're striking out there and you're striking out pier heads, go fish your normal program right on the bank, right on the shelf where you normally do. If the water's cold, run some 2 colors and 3 colors and 5 colors, some 7 colors. If the water's mid-range temp or normal temp, or you say you got a temp break down at 50 feet, 40 feet, run your 225s, your 250 coppers, and your 300 coppers. Run your downriggers like you normally do. Don't think just because it's late season, you really got to change up your program in a huge way. The biggest caveat on that is run your normal program as far as your spread, but get a good mixture of plugs in there. J plugs and ace high plugs, silver hordes, get a good mixture of plugs in there because don't forget, when these 4-year-old kings, when they're getting ready to go up the river, they really stop eating. They're not hungry anymore. They might be hungry, but they just stop eating. If you cut open a king in the late season and you take a look at the belly, I mean, it looks about as wide as that pen right there because they just stop eating. They're no longer biting at your bait because they're hungry and they want to put on weight. They're snapping at your baits because you ticked them off in some way. So those plugs with the aggressive action, with the rattle in there, with the glow, with the UV, it's a great way to really get a king irritated and get them to snap at you. So like I said, if you're striking out pier heads, there's too many boats in there, they're overpressured, and you're not getting anything in that mid-range, get out to your normal fishing grounds, out on the bank, the shelf, wherever you normally go. Get your normal spread out there, but run a heavy side of plugs on it. Don't be afraid to still throw some flasher fly in there. It's still good to have 1 or 2 flasher fly in the mix. or maybe some meat in the mix, still run some of those things, try to attract them in, maybe get them a little more interested in what the heck you're doing. And don't be afraid to throw some good spoons on as well. You might get bit on your spoon. So, but a heavy dose of plugs is normally the ticket in this late season. Now, I've said this before. I have some other videos talking about these, but some of my favorite plugs, the Ace High White Lightning. I know you can't find them right now. They seem to have just disappeared throughout the entire planet. But Ace High White Lightning, Ace High Green Lightning, Ace High Black Lightning, all three of those are fantastic. Ace High Mother of Pearl, and you can find Mother of Pearl in a ton of different variations, but Mother of Pearl with the green stripe, with the pink stripe, the vivid Mother of Pearl, any of those are going to do pretty good for you. A good combination of glow and UV really play good dividends. Double glows, Dreamweaver double glows, the Ace High double glows, fantastic also, and you can run those things all day long. Just because they're a glow doesn't mean you got to yank them out once the sun comes up. You can still run those things all day. So one thing I do like doing with a lot of my Ace High double glow plugs, I like to customize them. If you get some Warrior tape products, just some UV tape or some Prism tape or whatever you want to come up with, you can come up with some real interesting applications to be throwing on those double glows. All right. So yeah, don't be afraid to doctor up your plugs in a certain way. Just because they come a certain way out of the package, trust me, a lot of guys, including myself, love to doctor those things up. Andrew Bowman, you just sent me a heck of a nice super chat. Thank you, sir. It's very, very nice of you. Let me throw you the thank you here real quick. Andrew, that's really nice of you. Thanks. That really helps support the channel. Good people. Really, really good people. Now, I just noticed somebody else, Dan Kahneman, here talking about having a two-color hit. Hold on, let me check that. Yeah, so he had a two-color hit, and is putting it back out, had another that same two-color hit as he was free spooling it out. Yeah, when they're hot and heavy in the pier heads, it can be crazy fun. So we're progressing here. Pier heads, and now we're thinking about transition area between pier heads and normal fishing grounds. Now we're talking about fishing grounds, what I'd like to run in those areas. Now, if you're not finding them, or you just got too much boat traffic and you want to do something a little more unique and different, weather permitting, of course, I like going out deep too. Very, very often, as the season gets a little later and all those kings are starting to progress towards that warm water area, those warm water areas, you're still going to find them out deep. And just because I'm fishing deep water, and by deep water, I mean 250, 300, 350, maybe even 400. Just because I'm fishing those super deep waters doesn't mean I'm putting all my gear down, way down, below in the deep depths. I'm still running a lot of my normal programs. So if I was fishing a lot of 5, 7, and 8 colors or 10 colors back, my normal fishing grounds, I'm going to do the same thing out there. If I'm running a lot of 200, 250, 225, 300 coppers, same thing out there. Same thing with downriggers, same thing with divers. So just because you get out deeper does not mean you got to change up your program and throw all your gear down super deep. Again, the only thing that works against that is if the temperature break is super deep. And even in late season, sometimes we get a temp break that goes down to 80 or 90 feet. We just had it last week. So, if you get those temp breaks that go down super deep, you're going to want to put some stuff down there. Some big, gaudy, nasty, rattling, glowy UV stuff. Get that stuff down there and see if you can spark up a bite. One thing I will also say on plugs, bump your speed up. This year, I found that to be more true than ever. We've been hitting our speeds up for, we're starting at 2.5, and we've been cranking it up to 3.0 and even faster, and they've been getting snaps. So don't be afraid to mess around with your speed, okay? And I know I talked about zigzagging in the past. Just please, if you're going to zigzag to alter your speeds on your baits, just make sure you have the room to do it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy out there in the pier heads. It's, everybody's going this way around the toilet bowl, and then that one guy wants to go that way around the toilet bowl. Please don't do that. There's nothing more frustrating than, everybody else is going one way and you look up and There's that one boat that's got to go the opposite way, and all the boats are trying to dodge around them. There's bad language being said, and yeah. Anyway, all right. So pier heads, work the pier heads hard. If you got fish in there, if the temps are right, a lot of plugs. Don't be afraid to get your plugs right up by the beach. Also, and I mean by the beach, I mean a flat line, no lead, no copper, no nothing. Like a flat line right up in that 3, 4, 5 foot, 6 foot of water range. You'll sometimes find them right up in there, especially if you see them up in there porpoising. But 2, 3s, 4s, and 5 colors rule the pier heads. Rule the pier heads. Downriggers, my normal downrigger spread is like 12, 20, 25, somewhere in there for my 3 downriggers. Divers, I'll still run normally a single diver per side, sometimes 2, but I'll get my diver on my high diver setting at number 3 setting. And I'll get that out there from 40 out to even 60, maybe 65. And sometimes we run flash or fly on that. Sometimes we run a plug on that. Sometimes we run a spoon on that. Now, I used to go real heavy on slide divers in the pier heads. And I found that over the years, you just don't need to do it if you use a long enough lead. And on our boat, we use 20 plus foot leads. So 20, 25, 30 foot leads on our boat still work really, really well. Now, if you're not a long lead fan, it doesn't mean you have to run a slide diver. It does help, though, to get that bait away from the boat a little more in those shallow waters. But even if you're running a 6 or 8 foot lead off your diver, non-slide diver with a 6 to 8 foot lead, you're still going to get bit. Maybe not as much as a more stealthy lead, but you're still going to get bit time to time. So good things to play around with. So pier heads, 2, 3, 4s, and 5 colors. Get a couple divers out, maybe a couple downriggers going also. Transitioning out into those transition areas, run a lot of the same stuff, maybe a couple deeper lines, maybe your downriggers, at least one of them a little deeper, maybe at least one diver a little deeper, get out to the common fishing grounds, run a lot of your normal spread. Don't forget to be plug heavy, bump your speed up a little. And if you want to be real adventurous and just do things that a lot of other people don't do, go search the deep water. You're not only going to find adult kings out there and juveniles, you're going to get the occasional steelhead. You might get a bunch of steelhead, and you're definitely going to get some cohos. Definitely going to find some cohos out there also. All right. That's about it. So lead us back into the fishing report for Manistee. Pier heads have been working. Saw a lot of boats there. Let me say this. So last night, we have a New Hampton Inn here in Manistee. I really like it. It's a nice place. We had a lot of people around town that did not like the concept of a new big structure going in there by the lakeshore. I think it's a gorgeous hotel. I think the color's wonderful. I think the lighting's wonderful. I think they did a great job. So I had a day off last night. I grabbed the wife. We went and got a room there. We ate there. They got a nice restaurant up on the 5th floor. We stayed on the 4th floor. If you're in Manistee, I highly recommend the place. It's a little more pricey, but it is a really nice place to stay. Nice hot tub, nice pool. It's an indoor-outdoor hot tub, so you can actually be indoor 1 second and be outdoor the next. Pretty nice. Nice fire pits, some cornhole setups. Pretty cool. But anyway, I woke up this morning and I counted 40 plus boats out around the pier heads. So I know there's fish around the pier heads, especially with that colder water. I did see some boats moving off onto the shelf. I saw some boats in the transition areas. But I know there's going to be fish around the pier heads here in Manistee. I think it's going to hold true for Frankfurt. I think it's going to hold true for up by Platte Bay. I think it's going to hold true for Ludington and a lot of other ports up and down the coast. I did talk to a couple boats that went out straight out of Manistee. They seem to do okay as well with some adults out there, which tells me we still have a bunch of adults out there that have not come into the pier heads yet. So if I was going out in the morning, and I am going out in the morning, pier heads are a great place to start, and then transition areas out to the deeper water straight out of Manistee. You got that warm water outflow right there. You're going to have adult kings in that area, as well as other feeder fish. So that's going to be a pretty good bet, I think, for the morning. Plug heavy, like the ones I talked about, and we'll just roll on from there. Brian Lytle saying that restaurant has excellent views. And Brian, I completely agree with you. I saw a few boats that I recognized from the restaurant last night. It was pretty nice. All right. Let's open this up to some question and answer time. If you guys got questions, I may have answers. If I don't, I know people that probably know a lot more than I do about this thing, and I'd be happy to see if I can find them out for you. But let's see where we're at anyway. Let's catch up a little here. Oh, the poll. Hey, don't forget to take the poll. The poll is up and running. The poll question for this week is, I will be putting my boat away. First option, it's already put away within the next week, by the end of September or sometime after September. We have 131 votes on that. Right now with 66%, way out in the lead. Sometime after September is way, way out there. I'm not surprised. Most people that fish these areas are pretty hardy, and they know how to fish the colder waters. We'll let that poll run for a couple more minutes. If you haven't taken that poll yet, please do so. I love seeing more and more people get on those polls. I get you get a bigger sample size to know what people really like. Art Lair saying not even close to putting the boat away. I hear you. Mine's probably going to stay in for at least 2 more weeks, maybe 3 or 4, depending on how the fishing goes. If you're looking to take a charter still, I still have openings. darkbluecharters.com. Got a link down below. I would love to get you out there. Love to take you out there and show you what this fishery is all about. Sean Hodges, yeah, how late in the fall do I typically fish? I normally yank my boat because it's a 31-foot boat. I can't get it up the river unless I get a real good running start, and I'm still not going to make it real far. So I can't get it up the river, and I can't go pan fishing with it or really walleye fishing. So mine normally comes out towards the end of September sometime. Ryan Purchase wants to know, have I heard any more on the commercial netting situation? The last thing I heard was that the judge did accept the consent. One moment, please. Did accept the consent decree on its face, which means that he didn't allow the how do I want to say this? He didn't allow the warnings or the concerns of the coalition or the Michigan Charter Boat Association. He didn't allow those concerns to really be heard. He took the consent decree in on its face the way the tribal entities had written it, either by their attorneys or in other fashions. And the way I've read it is he's approved it in that sense. Doesn't mean it's set in stone yet. Nothing is in place yet, but he has accepted it on its face with no alterations by the other entities. That's what I'm trying to say. So I try to put as many updates as I can on my Facebook or TikTok or whatever else. I have links down below to all my social media in the description here. So feel free to follow me if you're not already. Jason C. asked me if I'm riverboat shopping yet. Jason, I ordered a riverboat last October, and I was just told by Stealthcraft that it should be here. They're saying a few weeks. I'm going to guess probably closer to the end of October. Just my gut feeling. But it is right around the corner. And once it's here, I will be taking bookings for winter steelhead trips. So if you're looking to get out on the water for some steelhead on the river, pay attention to the channel. I'll let you know when the boat is up and available. I'll be happy to get people out there. Jim Kaczynski is saying, what ratio do I use for the 124 deeper divers? So, Jim, if you're setting it on a setting number 3, it's normally a 3-to-1. So if you put it out at 90, you're probably 30 feet deep. If you're putting it on a setting number 1, it's normally a 2-to-1 setting. So if you put it out at 100, you're probably 50 feet deep. So 2-to-1 on the 1 setting, 3-to-1 on the 3 setting. Patrick Forster saying, is there still a Laker bite going on out there? That's a good question, Patrick. And the honest answer is I don't know. Nobody's gone up there and fished. Nobody has wanted to take the gamble to running up there. We've still had really good king fishing, so nobody really wants to take the gamble, run up there on some lake trout that may not be there. My gut feeling is they're probably still in the area, but the problem I think you're going to run into is that green slime. I think over the summer has really most likely gotten thick up in those lake trout areas, and you're going to be battling that slime all day long. So it may not even be worth it. Good question, though. Jim Kaczynski or Kaczynski, you're very, very welcome. David Roboth wants to know how much was the room and was there a power tub in the room? So no, there's no hot tub in the room. There's a hot tub down on the main floor. And if you want pricing, I would just suggest you call the hotel. Andy May is asking, when is my riverboat ready? Should be soon, Andy. Appreciate you asking, though. David Ash, that's a good question. So he's asking, why did Mag Hottentots, or just Hottentots in general, fall out of favor? You know, they were really, really good baits for a long, long time. The answer is they still catch a ton of fish. Hottentots are one of my favorite lures of all time for not only trolling around inland lakes, for being on the river, even spring fishing for kings and lake trout and browns and everything else. Hottentots are fantastic. You know what? I guess you got to ask, why do most baits fall out of favor? It's because other ones come along that might be a little more flashy or a little more shiny, a little bit better publicized, and people, you know, it's like squirrel, and they want to go look at those other shinier things. So the Hottentots are still fantastic. If anybody out there has a bunch of Hottentots they want to sell, I might know a guy that would take them off you. Frank Glarnew. Oh my God, Frank, I'm so sorry. Have I ever used Moonshine J-Plex? I have not. No, I have not. Josh Axe is asking, how late does Manistee Lake hold salmon? Josh, it's going to completely depend on when the big salmon run is done. And I think this year it's going to go quite a bit longer into this season. I think there's still a bunch of adult kings yet to come in. So really, just keep your ear on the road and just see what people are saying. Call the fishing shops. If people are still out there, if you see them out there still jigging out there on Manistee Lake, they're probably still kings out there. Scott Garb's wiggleworts are really good. Wiggleworts, Hottentots. Oh, what else? Thin fins can be fine. Flatfish are great. Those maglips can be really, really good. Thunderstick Juniors, Thundersticks, Rapalas, you name it. All those can be really good on the river. Lonnie Hagan, good to see you, Lonnie. You had a great time last week. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Thanks for coming out. I did appreciate having you guys on the boat. Ryan Purchase wants to know, how do I feel, or my thoughts on a fundraiser through this channel for families needing some help during the holiday season? So Ryan, last year we had the fundraiser for a charity here in Manistee, and like I said last year, I'm going to continue to do that every year. And whether or not it's that fund or that charity, and that charity was Repo's Rescues here in Manistee, that do a great job rescuing animals, saving animals, rehabilitating animals. They do a great job, and they struggle every year. So whether or not it's going to be them or somebody else, I don't know yet. But the bottom line is, yes, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. So pay attention and keep tuned for that, and I'll let you guys and gals know when that's going to start up again. My gut feeling is more than likely we're going to help Repo's Rescues again. I know they need it, and I've seen the work that they do firsthand, and more than likely we're going to help them out again. We'll see how it goes, though. Thanks for bringing that up. You know, that time of the year is not far away. Anyway, let's close up the poll. Should pop up on all your screens. You can see the results for yourself, but by far and away, going to keep the boat out for a while longer, is way out in the lead. Way, way, way out in the lead. Bob Hunter, thanks for all the thumbs up. That's another thing that helps the channel out greatly. And we're going to wind this down right here. If you guys, gals, have any more questions, I'll be around in the chat for a little longer. The visual aspect will close down. I'll stay in the chat for a little while. So if you got any more questions, I'll be right there. If not, we will circle back and do this again next Sunday night, 7 p.m. Lost Glove Farms, I'll be on the Big Manistee, almost exclusively on the Big Manistee. But yeah, we'll be back next Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Good luck to all your teams out there in the NFL. If you're going on the water, be safe out there. September can be really, really nasty. Be careful. Watch the weather. Have your life jackets available if you need them. Anyway, BMK, how's the marine mat doing? BMK, that marine mat is bad. You know what? It is. It's great. I love it. If anybody's thinking about getting their boat flooring done, marine mat by Custom Marine Flooring in Ludington, couldn't recommend them more. Couldn't recommend them more. Wonderful people and great product. All right. We'll jump into the chat section now, and we'll go from there. Don't forget, check out the new sweatshirt. There should be a link on your screen or down below. You guys really like it. I'd love some feedback on that also, okay? Leave me a comment on it. Tell me what you think. I was looking for feedback. All right, how do I get out of here? All right, here we go. I think this is it. Let me click the right button. Here we go. All right, see you, everybody. Be safe.